Hello and welcome to a very special Dev Hangout. We are looking today at Workbench, our new visual modding tool. Some of you may know it as the Quest Designer, but it is much more than that, and hopefully in this stream you will get a good grasp of it, and you'll see all the potential, and you'll see why I am very excited about it. After we've looked at Workbench, we'll move on and look at factions and how they're structured, and take a look at some of the bosses, heroes, and the behemoths that we'll be adding to the game shortly. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump into the editor and fire up an example of a working script, so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. If you've got any questions throughout the stream, then please start your question with @GamesFoundry, and then it'll highlight on my screen. Halffox is also in chat, and he will be able to answer any of your technical questions while I get on the stream. Okay, we're in the editor. You guys will be already familiar with this. What you will be looking forward to is if we drop into our visual modding tool, so Workbench. Now, this is a visual scripting environment. Typically you get these in game development tools that you use to make games. It is very rare to get these visual editors actually in games. They've been tried a couple of times before, but we are one of the new breed, and it is extremely powerful. What we've got here is a number of nodes, and each node does a number of things. It allows us access to objects within the world, events, and commands. So we can pretty much do anything we like. We can set up quests. So, for example, we might walk up to an NPC blacksmith, delivering some components that we found when we've been out questing. He'll have a little conversation with us where we can define all the text. He'll take the ingredients out of our inventory. We can then tell him to walk over to a crafting bench, hammer away, walk back to us, and then, after a little bit of dialogue, give us a magic sword, anything like that. Alternatively, you could have an escort quest, so you could have somebody that you meet on a journey somewhere, on a path that needs escorting, and you agree to it. And you, along the journey, you get attacked by bandits, and all that can be set up without any programming whatsoever, just purely using these visual nodes. So what I'm going to do in the stream, I'm actually going to take a look through recreating the original tutorial. Now, it uses some of the old voiceover, which you'll have to bear with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to jump out of this and open up a clean project. So using the easy map based in the grasslands. I've got a question coming in already. So you place it in editor and then go to the quest editor or quest. No, it is totally integrated. So at the moment I just have a hotkey. We could actually make the background transparent, and you do actually interface with the world to be able to populate some of these fields, but we'll come on to that later. I wonder why that didn't clear. Just bear with me a second. It's still very much a work in progress, but it is all functional. Just a couple of bugs that we need to iron out. So let's go ahead and choose that one. Worst case, if this one's already populated, then I can go ahead and choose a different map. Okay, good. So I'll just hide all of our dialogues. So every script begins with a start node. And when the game starts, this is the initial entry point into a script. And on the left-hand side, you may see that we've got little, not in this one, but we've got inputs. And on the right-hand side, we've got outputs. So what I want to do is I'm going to just put a little delay in there to allow us to load into the game. And then I just connect the complete into the run. And over here I can set a delay value. So let's say 10 seconds. And then I want our advisor to say something. So let's grab a sound. And after the delay has complete, I want to go ahead and... oh. Just bear with me because this is one of the bugs that I was talking about earlier. Okay, there we go. So I've picked a sound. I'll just play that.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land.
I don't think pause is implemented at the moment, but it's a way that we can preview what is about to be said. Excuse me. So it's saying to build a windmill. So what we want to do to be able to progress to the next stage is we put in a when node. And we say that when that is finished, we want to check this condition. And the condition that we want to check before progressing with the quest is that we need to check whether the player has built a windmill or not. So what I need to do is pull up the statistic node, and then I want to say that I think it's started construction. Now the prefab, we need the windmill, and we say, you can sort of read it through. So what we're saying is when the player has started construction of a windmill, and that's connected to that, so it's greater than 0. So when they've started construction of one or more windmills, then we're okay to proceed. So I'll just move this back here, and that is our condition. So we can connect that together. And what will happen is this will constantly, or per frame, evaluate whether this condition has been met or not. And if it has, then it will enable us to proceed on to the next step. And again, for the next step, if we go ahead, grab a sound node, and then this time we want to play tutorial 3.
Superb! Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill?
Okay, so it wants us to build at least one field. So same again, grab a statistic, and this one is, let's think, we probably want them to finish the construction this time. Farmer's field, yeah, farmer's field. And again, we use the greater than. We want it greater than 0, so at least one has been built. And most importantly, finished. So we've got started, which means that they've actually placed the building. So I've got an itchy nose. And this one means that they've actually completed construction of it before moving on to the next step. So again, we want a when. And we want this to be our condition. Okay, so we'll have built a windmill and we'll have finished construction of a field. And the next step is another sound, and I believe it asks us to train a woodcutter. So we go ahead and put in our sound. Tutorial 4.
Our windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill.
So now we need to train a farmer, and the way we do that is we add in another node called statistic occupation, and we say that when the player has trained, and we want a farmer, and when that is greater than, oops, delete that node. When that is greater than 0, again, we're okay to proceed. Alright, so I won't go too much further than that because for now we actually want to save that and run it. So let's just say we've got to start. It's going to wait 10 seconds. It's going to play our first sound, and then it's into a condition check that will wait until we've placed a windmill on the map. Now, while our peasants are going ahead and hammering away at the windmill, it's also going to tell us to build a farmer's field. And we're going to wait until that's actually finished constructing before telling the player to train a farmer. And again, and then what we'll do, just to finish off, is we'll go ahead and place one more sound at the end. Also make that a positive notification. So keep your ears open for that. Alright, so let's now jump back to the editor and save that. We'll save that as, let's save that as VS3. Okay, and then we'll go to new game. Load up VS3. Sorry for the music, I'll just turn that down as soon as it loads.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour.
Okay, so it waited.
Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
Okay, so he's told us what we need to do. I mean, on screen it would give us a quest and you'd probably see the face of the advisor, but you get the idea. So let's go ahead and build a wagon.
Has been constructed.
And what we actually need to do, I probably need to cheat actually here. So let's give ourselves some resources. So we're able to go ahead and build our windmill. Now, if you remember, it's as soon as it's placed, we should hear the next part of the tutorial quest. So let's try that now.
Superb! Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill? The closer resources are to buildings, the less time villagers will spend transporting goods, and the more productive they can be.
Okay, so we can go ahead now, and if we place a field,
completed.
It shouldn't progress. It should wait until it's actually fully built. And it shouldn't take long at all. Now I can actually check what's going on. And we can wait for this to be built, and I can check.
Our windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill.
I don't think it actually runs, but you can also run scripts within the actual player itself for debugging. So anyway, it's given us the next part of the quest, which is to go ahead and train a farmer. So let's do that now, and then we should hear that positive ding sound. Let's do that. Okay. Now if I just jump back in here and click run, you'll see that it's actually running, so it's counting down from 10. And it will flash as it moves along. Now it should move along quite quickly to the end, because I've met all of the conditions.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options. Superb! Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not?
So it's going through and it's evaluated all these. So we've already got a windmill.
The closer
just look here.
resources are to
So that condition has been met. We've got a field, so that condition has been met. And it should finish off with a positive sound.
Our windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill.
That's interesting. We can do the sound again. Okay, well, close enough anyway. Possible bug. Okay, so just while we're in here as well, I'll just say that we are trying out a new top bar UI. You may recall that there was a lot of opening of the stockpile or the inventory to see how many resources that you've actually got in stock. So we've moved all of that now up to be permanently visible. We're just testing it internally to see how it feels, and if we're happy with that, visually it's not quite all there yet, but if we're happy with it, then we'll roll that out. Okay, right, so the positive sound is not queued. So only the queued sounds are playing. So it should probably play this positive sound straight away if I run it again. So it'll wait 10 seconds and I expect we'll hear the positive sound.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board
not to worry.
near
Anyway,
the
so let's
empty
go
plot
back
of land.
into the editor. And scripts are all saved within the map file now, so if you are sharing your map in the community forums, then you don't have to do anything. It's all included in the file. So we can do loops as well. But one of the things that I want to show you is how we reference things in the world. So we've got to the point where it plays our positive sound. Now let's start doing something smart. So what we will do is we're going to get this character here, wherever they may be in the world, and we're going to send them over to this tree. I think the trees work. Well, I'll send them over to a bush, I think, because I know that works. Alright, so the first thing that I want to do is I need to get a spawned character. So let's move that over here. And I just have to toggle down the UI and make sure I've got a spawn point selected for our character, which I have. There. And then selecting that, I can click on this and it will actually select what I currently have selected. And that's pretty much how you reference everything in the world. You just select it and then you can jump into the editor and say, right, use what I've currently got selected. So we now have a character that was spawned selected. And we want to tell them to go somewhere. So we will send that result into and use that as, so the output of the spawned character node we'll use as an input to specify the target. We want to run this after our positive sound is played, and next we need a position. So let's grab a position node. We'll be making the nodes appear in the center of the screen rather than the center of the graph. So as another input, we need a position, and then for position, again, we can go and select things. Now we will add some like waypoints and markers so that you can actually get specific points in your world. For now, I'm just going to use this bush, and I'm going to say, use the current selected object. And then we're going to feed that into the position. And then for the speed, we can say we want them to run. And then when they get there, we want to play an animation. So when it's reached, now I just need to check. I think it's work_foraging, but Foxel, can you just confirm that actually, please? So I think that's what it's called. So just to recap while we're just having that checked. Oh dear, it's sort of... So we... Oops, ignore that. We do have multiple selection at the moment, but we don't have marquee selection and dragging, but we will add that in time. Okay. So when we finish training our farmer, what it's going to do is it's going to send that peasant to walk over to the bush, And then when we arrive at the bush, or when it's reached, we're going to play an animation. So this could be something like I mentioned before. So blacksmith, you send them to an anvil to craft a special item. They come back. And then one thing that I want to do is while they, well, let's, all right, tell you what, let's once they've actually finished foraging, let's then add an item to our inventory. And then we can choose what we want to add. So in this case, let's add a ring of life stealing, and we want to give one of those to the player. Okay. So let's go ahead and save that as VS4. Exit back. New game. Ah. Right. Forget that. I'll have to go back into the editor because I got the animation name wrong. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll go back now. Work underscore gather underscore ground. Okay. I should probably set the camera angle anyway that the game starts at. So let's start it there, and then wanted our animation. Okay, work underscore gather underscore ground. Okay. I imagine we'll have some sort of selection for that will pick up the animations that they can do. Alright. Save. Okay. So it'll be waiting 10 seconds. It's counting down there. And then it'll tell us what to do. So in the meantime, I'll get some resources.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
We don't have enough planks to do that.
Let's actually put that over here.
Superb! Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill?
Okay.
The closer resources are to buildings, the less time villagers will spend transporting goods, and the more productive they can be.
A building has been constructed.
Okay, so they are now working on our farmer's field, which when complete will tell us the next part of the tutorial.
Our windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill. My pleasure.
Now, one thing I've thought about is if we train the guy who we wanted, that will probably break, I would guess. So let's send somebody else in. Let's train you. And then this guy is running. I'm not sure that animation name was correct. But the ring is in our inventory. I guess that animation name was wrong, because when he arrives, he sort of actually play an animation. And then you see it's added it into our inventory. Good stuff. Alright, let's jump back. And let's see what else Workbench can do. Okay. We have things like culture points. So if you wanted to, say, unlock a building at when a village reaches a certain size, we could actually do a check of the current culture size. So we could say when culture is greater than, I don't know, say 50, then we might want to enable I don't know, another building type or some research or something like that. And what we can do, the way research actually works is it's a hidden inventory item. Oh no, I need to go when. Let's put a when node in there. Condition check, and then I would have to hook this up to something, and then go research. Is it? I haven't tested that, so I'll probably choose something else. But leatherworking, maybe. Yes. All right, there we go. So there's leatherworking. So if I hooked this up. What I would be doing is, as soon as the player's culture level passes 50, so as soon as it ticks higher than that, then I would essentially add a leatherworking research to the player's inventory, and that would unlock leatherworking. And then if they had a blacksmith, they would be able to go ahead and try that and train that. So let's just knock that culture down. So let's say if it's greater than 10, then give me that, and let's get rid, before the start, let's now put it in a sequence. Now a sequence is just a fork, and it allows us to do multiple things. So if I just move that down to here, and we can support 4 things coming off one sequence. So if I wanted to branch again, then I could add another sequence in. So the first thing I want to do, and this next, oops. So it's just a way of firing off multiple things and forking. So this, I wonder whether I should put a delay in there or not. That's going to be interesting to check. But we will have to check this. Test it. So it'll do all of our existing quests that we've got, including sending that. Let's just change that animation to be work_chopping. Let's see if that works. And then at the same time, it should enable, once we pass culture of, what did I say, 10? Then it will give us our blacksmith research. Alright, so some of the other things that we can do. Let's go ahead, and over here we can create, I need the systems. Systems and the wave spawner. Let's pull the inspector back up. And I want to spawn some spiders. Let's say 3 spiders. Let's make them very weak. And I want them to seek out the player. Now, time since start, I'm just going to set that to very large because I don't want it to spawn until I trigger it with a script. So I've got our spawn point selected. I'm just going to jump across into Workbench, and I'm going to pull up trigger wave. And then I'm going to select the current point spawn point that we have selected in the editor. Alright, so when that would be a little bit unkind actually, so let's move that over here. So as soon as we have trained our, well, as soon as it actually runs over and picks up what was it, the ring, then let's make it spawn the spiders. So it's going to trigger the wave, and let's add a sound in there.
Our village is under attack.
Okay. So let's go ahead and save that. We are thinking about putting, or we're going to try and put zoom in, so you'll be able to scroll the mouse wheel, and that will zoom you in and out on sections. And there's all sorts of things that we can add to this to make it really, really nice. So let's go ahead and save that. So let's save VS5. Go to new game. Okay.
Yep.
A building has been constructed.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
Now, one thing I want to check is our culture is now over 12, so I'm going to actually go ahead and build a blacksmith. I've just got Charles selected because he is the peasant who's going to run over to those bushes.
Construction completed.
Okay, now if we go in, what did I research? Leather working. That didn't seem to work, did it? Or did I set it higher than that? Okay, might just be a bug. Anyway, that's in theory what it would do. So let's get on with doing our quest. So we want to build a windmill.
Superb! Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill? The closer resources are to buildings, the less time villagers will spend transporting goods, and the more productive they can be.
So when
Buildings completed.
10. Oh, there we go. That's why.
What now?
I need to reset to 1. Alright, my fault. User error.
Our windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill.
Right, so I'm going to go ahead and train our farmer again. Now, I think it's Charles that will run over. Let's just move Charles over here. Charles will run over. And when he arrives, he's going to start the chopping animation. We should have some spiders emerge over here. So let's just go and run over here.
Right away.
And reveal the fog of war.
Okay. A woman's work is never done. Be right there, darling.
And then you can become our farmer.
What now?
Let's keep an eye on Charles. So Charles is running over. No spiders as yet. He arrives.
Our village is under attack.
He didn't play his animation for some reason there, but we've now got a wave of spiders coming. And I set them to only have health of 0.1, so they should be okay.
Yes, my dear.
Alright, peasants are pretty naff. So, yeah. Alright, that's all working. So let's go back. And let's do a little bit more. I will check chat. I'll go and correct it now. Okay. No, it was down here, wasn't it? So, add 1. So, let's try and be a little bit smarter now. So, going back to our wave trigger, it said under attack. So, let's just go and set that to be 1. So that they should be able to beat that. So then let's put a condition check in. So let's say when. Oh, I've got to go all the way back here. So I want to run this and I want to say when. Sorry. We've killed spider. Yeah, so the count, because that's a statistic, so when my kill count is greater than 0, so I've killed 1 spider, that's in my condition. Then what I want to do is let's start some dialogue. So conversation. Now, as a team, we sat down when we were designing the quest, what sort of questing and storyline we wanted in Folktale, and we decided unanimously that we wanted branching storylines. So that's what we've implemented, where you've got a number of options that you can take, and depending on what option you decide to go down, that can lead to another set of behaviours within Workbench, and yeah, you can script a totally dynamic storyline and questline, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm just going to grab some text to copy and paste. So what we're going to do, this would normally happen when you meet an NPC, but I'm just going to say, hey you, will you help me gather some wood? And then in terms of the responses, we can support up to 4 responses. So we'll say sure, if you've got the coin. I'm a little busy at the moment and ain't got time for you jibber jabber fool. Alright. And then we can have different things happen depending on which one of these we choose. Now, for the last 2, I'm just going to leave it so that the dialogue closes, but if we say yes, then I guess we could set up a quest, but instead of that, let's just add in you might not need this, but we'll put in a pop-up dialogue. You never know, there may be situations that require it. So if they choose the first option, we'll have a pop-up dialogue. I don't think that actually works at the moment. We'll just, I don't know, we'll set it to OK, see if it does anything. And it's going to give us a message. All right. So already we've got fairly complex behaviour going off, with a lot of going off, and it's not taken that long at all. And no programming experience, which was great. So let's go ahead and save that now. Save that as VS6. Just while I'm here, let me check that I set that. Yeah, set that to 1. Don't know why. Position. Let's try a different position. Let's send them to over here instead. Position. So send them to the ore, and then hopefully when they reach it, then it will play what? Work underscore mining. And it'll add in some iron ore. Okay, so 10. Alright, check in the chat in case I've done something wrong. Alright. So, save VS6. Yes. Let's go in and try it. New game. You haven't set the target on the animation node. Right. Should we go back in then? Let's go and do that now. It's not too late. I did read it. I will go ahead and feed it. We need to feed in the character into the animation. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we need to say, play this animation on this character using the spawned character node. Right. Animation target spawned character. There you go. Save. New game. VS6. So culture 10. I can't remember what we're doing. I'll have to have a look. That's the nice thing about being able to preview the visual scripting in the game. So it adds... Oh yes, that's right. It does the research.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
So let's try again and see if leatherworking has been unlocked. Fingers crossed.
A building has been constructed.
Yay! Leatherworking enabled and craftable. Except I don't have any hides. Okay, let's crack on and build our windmill.
Superb! Our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill? The closer resources are to buildings, the less time villagers will spend transporting goods, and the more productive they can be.
Put that field down as well. Hey, is Tren in chat?
Completed.
Trent, are you there?
Yup.
Is he lurking around in
Our
there?
windmill is ready. Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking
All right, my love.
on the windmill. My pleasure.
Okay, well, let's bring them here.
Yes, my dear?
Let's send
On my way. What now? Ta-ta.
How can I help?
you to be trained.
Huh?
Our village is under attack.
Okay, so it doesn't have
Yep.
a tool as such to do it, but
Really?
he is doing the animation.
Okay. What now? My
All right,
pleasure.
dear.
And then these guys should... He should have got some more. So he got his 10 ore. Now we're waiting to kill... Alright, so we killed the spider and then we started the dialogue. So if I clicked on either of these two, it would close the dialogue. But if I clicked on sure if you got the coin, then it should come up with a dialogue box. Alright. Then okay button. Here, accept the tokens. My thanks. I don't think it gave us anything, did it? Was it meant to give us anything? No, just the pop-up dialogue. So it could have given us gold or something like that. Oops, the font seems to have messed up there. Okay, so one more thing that I want to do. Oh yeah, that's a bug. The walking while they're doing the animation. It's because it's a looping animation rather than one shot. We've got a little bit more work to do there, but it is a known bug. Okay. So when the spider's attacked, I could be over here or basically not paying attention, and that's not cool. So what I'm going to do is when our spiders attack, where are we? Trigger wave. I want to move the camera. Okay, so what I probably need to do is have a sequence in there. Back we go. And this is where I haven't really left enough space, but first sequence is to frame the camera, and the second one is to trigger. Alright, so let's frame the camera, and then we need to give it a target. So let's jump back into our game and choose the spawn point and go use the selected. And now the distance scale, we have like a default distance. If you want to make it bigger, or like twice the distance, I could set this to 2. If I wanted to make it half the distance, well, let's do that. I'll set it to 0.5. Okay, so I could tell it to frame the camera. I think what I will do is I'll take this sound node out. Actually, maybe I'll put in a delay because at the moment I don't think that's going to wait for the camera to arrive at its destination. That'd be nice actually if we had a arrived output, but just in case it doesn't, so let's go ahead and put in a delay of 2 seconds before playing Villages Under Attack, and then the trigger, feed that into our condition. So that's going to move the camera. What else can we do? I mean, there's all sorts of stuff, but I haven't tested it, so I probably won't do that just yet. We can do, we've got random scale, so between 0 and 1, and random int, so it's between a range. So it could be 0 and 10, in which case it would pull out the characters 0 to 9. and we can use that with a greater than condition, and then a delay, and then loop that back round. So if you want to do loops, you can do it that way. You can check how many things are in a person's inventory. So yeah, I mean the potential, it's very sudden, very quickly becomes very large. So the first time I saw this, I got so unbelievably excited because it's a huge amount of potential that's in it. Okay, I'll just check the chat to make sure I haven't done anything stupid. So, Foxel, this is your 15-second warning to let me know if I've done anything wrong. I'll go ahead and save this as VS7. All right, I'll go and do random shortly. Right, so it's the spiders that attack. So I don't need to bother with the blacksmith and everything, so I'll be able to do this a lot more quickly this time.
Constructed.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour. Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
So while it's doing this,
our villagers will set to work hammering and sawing. In the meantime, why not place one or more wheat fields next to the windmill? The closer resources are to buildings, the less time villagers will spend transporting goods, and the more productive they can be.
Okay. So the potential that we've got here is to expand this to cover all sorts of things. So we could maybe add animation of doors, for example, tie it into a trigger system.
Train a farmer by selecting a free villager and right-clicking on the windmill.
So you could place a trigger in the world. So, for example, I don't know if we wanted to add a cube trigger here, and as soon as a character walked into that trigger, we could use that as an input into any sort of event, really. It could be a trap that we could set, or it could be some dialogue, or it could be a wave spawner. So yeah, all sorts of events that you can set up once we add in triggers. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull those down here.
On my way.
Yes, my dear.
You go ahead and train.
Yep.
You're going to run off. So move the camera.
Our village is under attack.
Move the camera over. Had a 2-second delay, and it told us.
What now? Ta-ta.
And then this time I'll just say I'm a little busy at the moment, so it closes it down. Okay. Yeah, in terms of triggering, if you're trying to build a field outside the boundary, then that wouldn't be handled by this system as such, but that is something that we've already discussed to put in. Okay, let's go back. So let's try a random event. Okay. So let's talk. Given that we've got this sequence, we can put one in down here. So let's say we want a random. Now that's going to generate an output of between 0 and 1. So if we want to say if our random number is greater than, now this will be, let's say 0.9, and we want to use the once node so that, oh no, we don't want to use once because we want to use a loop, don't we? So let's say when as the condition. Let's connect that up so it actually runs. So when our random number is greater than 0.9, so that's a 10% chance, we want to do something. So let's add to the inventory. So inventory add, and let's add some iron ingots, and let's add 1. And then I think I'm going to do this. Let's say, so if they have in their inventory already of iron ingots, so if the count is greater than, say 5, so if it's greater than 5, then we want to end, but if it's false, we actually want to feed it back into, I don't know if we can do that even. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Alright. It's a little bit ugly, and we need, this is where we need the ability to move the wires up. So what we're saying here is generate a random number between 0 and 1. If it's greater than 0.9, or when it's greater than 0.9, add in 1 iron ingot to the inventory, and then check if we have 5, actually it'll be 6 because it's greater than, so let's actually change that back to 4. So if we already have 5, then have 5 ingots in our inventory, it'll stop. And so there's no true doesn't go anywhere. I suppose we could play a sound or something, but if it's false, loop background and evaluate that that condition. Now the problem is that is going to execute once a frame. So what we want to do is actually we want to put a delay in there. So let's decouple that, and then let's say we want to do this every 1 second. So if it's false, run the delay. And evaluate that condition. Okay. Now to test that, I'm going to delete these. I'm going to save it first. Now you'll probably test this in the player, but I'm going to run this so it's have I done this right? There, added one. Have I done this right? Yeah, bad code style. The when node will check every frame. Ah, so the code will be heavily frame rate dependent. Alright, okay. So, should I use an if? Oh, well. So it'll evaluate every... it doesn't matter for this demonstration, but yeah, Harvogel's all right. So this is not a great design because it does evaluate it every frame. This condition, which is not what we want. So, but it doesn't matter for now. So let's go ahead and connect everything back up. That is, if I can remember where the heck that went down to that one, didn't it? And the first one went up to that one there. All right. All right. So a better solution probably would use the random feed into the delay. So should we do that? Let's go ahead and do that now. All right. So let's just disconnect our wires and restructure this. So what we're saying is we want a random, I could use multiply, but let's use a random int this time. So that is a number between, let's say, 1 and 5. So at a random interval between 1 and 5 seconds. So that's our delay. Do that. Yeah, that's right. So run it. Run the inventory add, and then if we already have 5, exit, and if not, go back into there. Does that look about right? So let me think that through. So we've got a random delay, it adds one to inventory, it does the check, and then it sends it back to the delay. I think that's right. Let's go ahead and save that. Alright, let's go ahead and test it. So I'm not bothered about all of the other stuff involving the windmill and everything now. All I'm looking at is our inventory. I think I did it as 7 rather than 8. Okay, and we'll open up our... I'll just open up the script, make sure it's the right one. Yeah, there's a delay and it's running. And then if I open our inventory, so we can see it trying to evaluate
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour.
Is it?
Click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
Of course, we've already got more than... let's change that. So let's say if the inventory count is greater than 90. I forgot the wagon already adds it in. So let's go to Y and let's run that again. There we go. So just add 1. Added another one.
We should set to work building a windmill and planting wheat fields that can be harvested and milled into flour.
That we stopped at. So
click on the notice board near the empty plot of land and select the windmill from the construction options.
So we should get 91, I think. Yep, so we should stop now. Yay! Okay.